O mejor una ducha. Para sacarte ese olor. Sal de aquí, weón freak.
The story begins with former drug cartel hitman Nicky Pardo, who has developed a ritual of playing Russian roulette with a custom stylized pistol. Through flashbacks, we learn the origin of his torment. During a violent confrontation, he accidentally killed the son of a rival assassin known only as the Scorpion. In a ruthless act of revenge, the Scorpion captured Pardo and his pregnant wife. He tortured them both, then forced Pardo to end his wife's suffering with his own hands. Afterward, he left Pardo for dead in the desert, tossing the same stylized pistol at his feet as a cruel gesture, his only means of escape from dehydration. Pardo pulled the trigger 3 times but survived. Broken by guilt, he abandoned the life of an assassin and turned to vigilantism and taking out organized crimes. One afternoon, as he was walking past near the church, something unusual caught his eye. He noticed a panicked man quickly hiding something inside one of the flower pots near the altar. Feeling suspicious, Pardo followed the man to the harbor, where he saw 4 thugs ambush the same man, dunking his head in the water again and again, demanding a missing bag of money. Even after a brutal beating, the man insists he knows nothing. When the gang leaves him half dead in the waters, Pardo steps out of the shadows. The man's name is Augustine. Broken and desperate, he begs Pardo for help. Against his loner instincts, Pardo takes him to the home of Antonia, a friend who offers shelter. When Antonia sees Augustine's battered state, she fears the danger he brings into her home. She sends her sick son away to her sister's house for safety. The boy needs surgery, but Antonia would rather keep him far from the violent cartels. Later that night, Augustine explains his prayer at the church. He doesn't ask for riches, revenge, or even healing. He only wants peace, the chance to work without gangs hounding him. Pardo also listens silently. When Pardo leaves the church, he repeats his grim ritual, loading a single bullet into his pistol, spinning the cylinder, and pulling the trigger against his own head, but the chamber clicks empty. Soon after, Pardo walks straight to the harbor, this time not as a bystander, but as an executioner. He confronts the same 4 thugs who nearly drowned Augustine. When the blood settles, Pardo gathers their money and donates it to the church, his twisted way of balancing justice. But soon, the truth comes out. Agustin admits the bag of money he lost belonged to a powerful drug cartel. Fear grips him, and he begs Pardo to protect him. Pardo agrees, but with one condition: the money must be returned to its true owner. To keep them safe, he hides Agustin and Antonia in a cave by the beach, then sets out to face the cartel himself. At gunpoint, he makes them an offer. He'll reveal the bag's location, but only if they promise to leave the city afterward. Their leader, Piedra, doesn't believe him. Pardo directs them to a church, but when they search it, the bag is nowhere to be found. Enraged, Piedra orders his men to kill Pardo. By the end of the fight, the floor is littered with blood and corpses. When Piedra returns, he finds his entire crew slaughtered. In shock, he rushes to report to his boss, Steve Braddock, the true owner of the missing money. Meanwhile, Pardo goes back to the cave, only to discover Agustin and Antonia counting the very money he nearly died trying to recover. Shock turns into anger. Antonia pleads with him, her son needs surgery, and this money is the only way to save him. But Pardo ignores her plea and takes the bag. On the road, haunted by memories of his wife and unborn child, he pulls over, tormented by doubt. After a long silence, he drives back and returns the bag to Antonia, giving her and Agustin the chance to save the boy's life. Still restless, Pardo begins tracking the cartel's operations. He spies on their convoys and follows them to a hidden drug factory. From the shadows, he studies their movements, until he realizes it's a trap. His car is riddled with bullets, forcing him into a brutal hand-to-hand fight with a cartel enforcer. Eventually, Pardo kills the thug with a brutal finishing strike. That night, Antonia finds him. As she tends to his wounds, a touch on his back triggers a flood of memories, the darkest chapter of his life. Years ago, Pardo and his pregnant wife were captured by the Scorpion, a sadistic rival. Pardo was bound and helpless as the Scorpion tortured his wife, forcing Pardo to make an impossible choice: shoot her himself, or watch her suffer a slow death. Under the weight of the Scorpion's cruelty, Pardo pulled the trigger, and that scar is never healed. Later, Pardo storms the cartel factory, gunning down guards and fighting room by room. He comes face to face with Piedra in gruesome hand-to-hand combat. After defeating Piedra, Pardo reaches the boss's office only to find him dead. Soon, Pardo also gets ambushed by Scorpion himself. When Pardo regains consciousness, he finds himself in front of the beachside church. Agustin and Antonia are there too, terrified and at the Scorpion's mercy. The villain forces Agustin to hold a gun and threatens to make him end his own life. Agustin resists, and the Scorpion executes him without hesitation. Antonia screams, and in her anguish, the Scorpion orders her to do the same, to pull the trigger on herself. With trembling hands, Antonia raises the gun. But at the last moment, she finds her courage and turns it on the Scorpion instead. Pardo kicks the Scorpion's weapon away to begin the final showdown. Broken and defeated, the Scorpion lies helpless. Pardo raises his gun, but stops. He refuses to kill Scorpion, but instead, he looks down at him and urges him to repent. Pardo and Antonia walk away from the cycle of violence and embrace redemption. Subscribe for more dramas like this, and don't forget to like this video, it really helps the channel grow.